Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Restaurant and Bar Marketing Podcast. This is Erik Shellenberger coming to you from Los Angeles, California. So you may have noticed recently your Google profile impressions and your Google business numbers have been dropping. And this is probably not due to something you're doing. It's probably due to an outside source and probably has something to do with the Google algorithm shifts that have been happening. So what I do for my clients is I get everybody to the top of the Google results, and I'm supposed to show better numbers month to month, and the impressions and the clicks, everything is supposed to go up in theory. And it's back in the day, back in 3-4 years ago, it was really basic because I would start a client and, slowly but surely their numbers would start to go up, and I could show you, okay, here's where we were this month last year versus this month this year. Numbers are way higher. Easy. It was really, really easy to show my clients the success and the difference, and it was really easy to illustrate it because it was a very basic graph of just a line graph. So what had happened in about the spring of last year, if I remember correctly, somewhere around then, Google made an algorithm shift, and then they changed the way that they measure impressions. So an impression is just somebody saw you as an option in a search. Let's just say it's a restaurants near me search. And they did a restaurants near me search on their phone in your area. You showed up on the map. That's an impression. Whether they took action or not, that's different. That's in a different graph. So if you showed up, then one impression. And then the old way to do it, if they scrolled in closer to your neighborhood and you're still on the map, that's 2 impressions. If they scrolled in again or moved again, you're still on the map, that's 3. If they clicked your Google business profile, that's 4. So you could rack up plenty of clicks with one user, which made the results a little artificial, and it didn't really make sense. So they made the change where they said, okay, 1 user's session equals 1 impression, which, yes, it's very much a more fair way and a more accurate way to measure it. It doesn't make sense if this guy clicks 20 times. We think that's 20 different people looking at us online. It's not like that. So I like the change. It was very much needed, and it was a great change, and it makes way more sense. The problem was when I send my clients reports of impressions, their numbers are plummeting because of the obvious reason of now it's just one guy with 1 click with 1 impression. So that was a tough one to navigate, and that was I had to get out in front of it and tell my clients, this is coming down the line. So when this happens, don't be surprised. This is going to happen. It did. And so it was a kind of a rough time for people like me in the search engine optimization business. I'm supposed to show all these great numbers. And from the outside perspective, people would look at it and say, why am I paying you and the numbers are going down? This is ridiculous. Well, perfectly good explanation. So fast forward to this year, to 2024, earlier in the year, they made another couple of changes. And these were, again, same thing. These were a better idea. It's a more accurate way to measure things. And one of them kind of is, kind of isn't, but again, it skews the numbers. So what one of these did was it took all of the one of the graphs. This is not consistent because there's several graphs, but for one of them, it took the pin marker clicks and the pin marker impressions out of the equation. So they just said, we don't care about the pin marker impressions. Let's measure everybody who clicks on your Google business profile. So now impressions was knocked down again to people visiting your actual Google business profile and looking at your pictures and your reviews and your hours of operation, blah, 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 all that stuff that's called the knowledge panel and knowledge card that's on the right of a Google search on a desktop. So that's what that got changed to, which made the numbers plummet even further. So now people are like, what in the hell? I'm 10% of what I was a year ago, 2 years ago. And they're right. The numbers don't look great. That doesn't equal less business walking in your door. It's just a way more accurate way to measure it. Another change they made was with the get directions clicks. Now, get directions, as I've said a million times, is the holy grail of marketing conversions. That's basically our way of measuring a conversion. Did this person's on Google? This person's on Google. They are making a restaurants near me search. Let's just assume they saw you as an option. Did they care enough to look at your Google business profile? Then did they care enough to hit get directions? Most of the people who hit the get directions button are going to come in and make a visit. So that's the one we want to see. That's as close as we can measure a conversion without having some sort of other way to track them walking in the door, like an Adentro marketing router, or like some of these loyalty programs through Toast and through other POS systems. You can measure that differently. But as far as from an outside perspective, as far as Google's concerned, this is the closest we can get. So the get directions clicks had gone from everybody hitting that button, right? If I hit the button, I just want to see how far away they are. Oh, I don't intend on making a visit. Never mind. Canceled. So that now those are off the chart. So if somebody clicks get directions and then they don't actually drive down there to make a visit, that gets removed from the equation. Again, way more accurate. Also, another one that was big was spam bots would crawl these pages. Spam bots would use that button. And so we got artificial clicks made by computers that they weren't people. They weren't somebody going to come make a visit and spend money at all. It was just false information. The other one was there was double click. So if someone double clicked that get directions button on certain devices and in certain situations, not all of them, it would show as 2 impressions. So, which again doesn't make any sense. So now they took all those variables out. Now it's very, very refined down to the get directions clicks is probably as genuine of a number as it's going to be. Those are the real people that are really coming in to make a visit, most likely, never 100%. And it's a way better way to measure that as well. So if you look at last year's numbers versus this year's numbers, and if you're slightly down, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're flat or going up this year, that's a really good thing because that's hard to do. Because we're with the different ways of measuring things, we're at a huge disadvantage right now to make our numbers look good on a graph. So keep that in mind. Don't think you're failing. Don't think you have to freak out. If everything online, if nothing's really changed, there's no reason for drastic changes in your Google business profile numbers. So at Bar Marketing Basics, what I do is I get my clients to the top of all those lists. We optimize everything as much as we can. And I put you in the, there's other podcasts I did on AI. Please check those out. Those other podcasts have to do with how I do it, where I put everything, and kind of the process of positioning somebody in the best possible light for AI computers to find you. So look at those on AI. There's 3 or 4 of them. There's going to be plenty more videos in the future on AI because that is definitely the next big thing. Google is losing review market share, losing impression market share to AI computers right now. It's going to continue to lose way more in the future. I've said this statistic on several of these. By 2026, Google is slated, or I guess is the estimate is they're going to lose 25% of their search volume to AI computers. It's a very, very big deal. So get on board with AI now. If you don't know how to optimize with AI, check out my podcasts, check out the website, barmarketingbasics.com, or hit me up. And if we do business together, I'll do it for you. All right. So that's a really quick, basic rundown on the changes of Google's way of measuring the metrics, measuring the impressions and the actions by customers. The phone calls and website clicks should remain the same. If they're fluctuating big one way or the other, something may be up, something may be worth looking into. But those metrics weren't really affected. So shouldn't be a whole lot of change there. All right. Hope this helps, and we'll do another one soon. Thank you.